Korea is one of the least known, least understood countries in the world. Its leaders are revered, at times even worshipped. At least that's what the government wants to show. This is a country where the state controls everything. Stop. Where collective actions and collective thinking are prized. And make no mistake, nobody does state-sponsored love like North Korea. The world's last Stalinist state sometimes lets journalists inside to see all of this. The fantastic parades, columns of armored vehicles, rockets, troops marching goose step. Parts of North Korea may have little food, but it has more than 1 million disciplined troops. I spent 2 weeks in North Korea and got a rare and revealing look at life inside this closed country. North Korea, a cult of personality, starts now. I'm Richard Engel. I've traveled to a lot of dangerous places, been caught in the middle of wars and revolutions. But there are also fascinating places that deserve to be explored. Many you won't find in a travel brochure or tour book. And I'm going to take you there. So pack your bags as we uncover our hidden planet. It is one of the most secretive nations on Earth. Self-imposed isolation has allowed the North Koreans to develop a way of living not seen elsewhere. At least not anymore. Journalists are allowed into North Korea about once a year on highly controlled visits. This time, 100 reporters were let in. We weren't free to wander around, but kept under the very watchful eye of government minders. The minder's role is part translator, part watchdog. We had to wear armbands all the time that said journalist, like a beacon telling people, be careful, don't talk to us, we're from the press. The government brought in reporters this time for one reason: to see a series of parades, assemblies, and concerts that glorified the Kim family dynasty that has ruled North Korea since the Korean War, a war that still shapes this country today.
A highly trained and well-equipped North Korean army swarmed across the 38th parallel to attack unprepared South Korean defenders. Caught off guard, they were all but overwhelmed.
During the Korean War in the early 1950s, communists in the North fought American-backed anti-communists in the South. More than 30,000 U.S. troops were killed in the war that left the Korean peninsula divided. The fighting also decimated North Korea, with hundreds of thousands killed. Out of the ashes, a Stalinist leader emerged in the North named Kim Il-sung, who promised to rebuild a better, centrally commanded nation. We were brought into North Korea to witness a national celebration to mark 100 years since Kim Il-sung's birth. After Kim Il-sung died in 1994, his son Kim Jong-il took over. And when Kim Jong-il died in 2011, he left power to his son. So now the third Kim, Kim Jong-un, is in charge. These ceremonies were also Kim Jong-un's welcome onto the world stage. A grand welcome, and we were invited to see it. Our trip started in Pyongyang, the nation's showcase capital. Images of the Kim family leaders are everywhere. All the main palaces are named after the Kims, the main streets too. The years in North Korea are counted starting from Kim Il-sung's birth. That's year 1. Pyongyang, when we arrived, was whipped into a full patriotic frenzy, with a military parade in, you guessed it, Kim Il-sung Square.
This is what totalitarianism looks like when it decides to throw a party.
Hundreds of thousands of troops marched through Kim Il-sung Square, along with columns of tanks and artillery, rocket after rocket, and fighter jets above. The troops marched goose step. And there's a reason these parades look like some sort of Olympic opening ceremony taken over by fascists. North Korea's last leader, Kim Jong-il, was a passionate fan of Hollywood movies. He especially loved 1930s Busby Berkeley-esque numbers with showgirls and pom-poms and razzmatazz and geometric patterns. So in North Korea these days, there's no business like the parade business I know. At the big parade, the new leader, Kim Jong-un, gave his first public speech. Mostly he praised his armed forces and said they will continue to dominate public life. But beyond the parades and fantastic stage performances, what is life really like in the world's most secretive state? I was taken to Pyongyang's best university, where the elite play and laugh and swim in an Olympic-sized pool. North Korea does have an upper crust, despite being an officially classless socialist society. Kim Mi-young is a literature major, a sophomore. She wants to be a journalist and work abroad. I asked her if she's read any American books. She hasn't, but her friend chimed in. He's read one.
He read a book written by Margaret Mitchell, Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. You read Gone with the Wind.
바람과 함께 사라지다를 읽었단 말이죠.
We moved on to the library. It looked very high-tech. Students in suits and ties. Computers for everyone. I met a computer science PhD candidate.
Are these computers connected to the internet?
그러니까 인터넷하고 연결됐다는 소리죠?
네, 연결됐습니다.
Yes.
Are they working? Is it working right now? Could you show me something on the internet?
지금 상황에서는 어느 설비 제공이 Today is the day of the equipment managing.
So the internet's not working today?
Yeah, not today.
They're updating the network, they're
That's
updating
right.
the software?
그러니까 오늘 afternoon the internet is working, but right now not. In the afternoon, we should manage the.
Oh, so the internet cuts off in the afternoon?
Yeah.
I see. Seems odd the network is down when we happen to arrive.
I asked another computer science student what he knew about social media.
Do you know what Facebook is?
당신은 그저 페이스북이 뭔지 압니까? Facebook.
It was clear the computer science student had never heard of Facebook. And with each student we spoke to on how they connected to the outside world, we got the same response. The internet is down.
Do you think I am lying?
No, I just want to know what...
아니 어쩐지 따지고
I want to know how...
질문해.
What I want to know is how young people in this country connect to the rest of the world. Because people in my country are very in touch with the internet. And so I'm trying to figure out how in touch with communications students are in North Korea.
Maybe you have a doubt on my word, so today is not available for you to show the internet. But if you want to come here tomorrow, then you can see the internet.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. And with that answer, we moved on. But something told me I wouldn't be coming back to the library anytime soon. Throughout our trip, even in the hotel where journalists were corralled, it was hard to get beyond the cult of personality. This is the bookstore in the hotel where journalists are staying, and if you're looking for some light reading, this probably isn't the place to come. All of the books are either by Kim Jong-il or his father, Kim Il-sung, or about the two men. They're in multiple languages, and if I have any questions, I can just pick this one up. Answers to the questions raised by foreign journalists. Volume 4. But for me, the highlight of the trip was this, a highly unusual visit to the countryside. To get there, we were loaded onto a deluxe train. We're now heading out of Pyongyang, and this is a really rare opportunity to see the countryside. Normally on trips like this, the minders try and sanitize everything we see. But we're going to be traveling in open country for hundreds of miles, and there's no way they could set that up.
So it'll give us a unique insight into what the country really looks like.
We passed miles of brown fields. There were hardly any tractors, few machines at all. Mostly just farmers with hand tools. Nothing seemed to be growing. The houses we passed all looked the same. Concrete and centrally planned.
It's obvious why this country is facing such extreme food shortages. The fields all seem to be barren, lifeless, brown expanses.
After we returned to Pyongyang, the government wanted to show us that despite all the brown fields, North Korea has plenty of food and a prosperous economy. We were bussed through the capital along streets lined with flags and taken to an apple orchard. We saw what looked like tens of thousands of tiny saplings. I didn't see too many apples. Then we went to a breeding house for turtles. Turtles here are used for food and medicine. But the problem was, the only turtle I saw was in a fish tank. At the factory, with a minder ever present, we did meet 36-year-old Young Bak. He cleans and feeds the breeding pools. He told me North Koreans feel misunderstood by Americans.
Korean people suffered many damages from the United States. The Korean people have a bad feeling to the United States. American is respecting my country, then he's okay. But if some American don't respect our country, then I don't like him.
Obviously, respect is very important, and nobody likes to be disrespected.
He also satisfied a curiosity I had about all the state-run celebrations.
You go to these big events where everyone claps and waves pom-poms. How do you learn how to do that? How do you know when you're supposed to hold up the decorations and when you're supposed to applaud? Do you receive some training in this?
We have a conductor. If you want to learn,
You'll teach me?
I will teach you.
Okay, well, I would very much, because I've seen them and they're very impressive.
There are only a few stores in North Korea. We visited one, state-run, of course, that was well-stocked with everything from flat-screen TVs to motorcycles. I met a 16-year-old student buying a pair of glasses. She was shy and didn't want to talk, but finally agreed.
We're very curious, what is life like for a 16-year-old young woman here in Pyongyang?
I am very happy.
You're happy. Why are you so happy?
in the morning, I go to school. I clean very carefully the portrait of the great leader, President Kim Il-sung, and the great leader, Comrade Kim Jong-il.
You clean the portrait of Kim Jong-il and Kim Il-sung where? At your school or in your house?
Classroom.
You clean it with a sponge and paper?
A sponge.
You clean it. Is that required? Is that something you do in your class?
I want to have a portrait of the great leader, President Kim Il-sung, and the great leader, Comrade Kim Jong-il, very bright every day. So voluntarily, I clean.
I tried steering the conversation away from politics and toward the girl's life, her interests, what she enjoyed most about life in North Korea. But it all seemed to circle back to the supreme leader. But in Unification Park, we saw a hint of something exceptional. North Koreans relaxing, smiling, taking photos of their families, and dancing to their own rhythms. A breath of fresh air.
There is, of course, more to this country than just military parades and rockets. There is that universal desire to just relax.
Despite this country's official anti-American stance, we received no hostility whatsoever. Just a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
By inviting journalists to this country to see the new leader's welcoming party, you do get a sense that North Korea may be trying to open up, if just a little bit. Or at least is flirting with the idea of change. But for now, North Korea remains a 1940s-style Stalinist state, an anachronism on the edge of Asia, and another mysterious corner of our hidden planet.